Twitch. That's fine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. He's in.
Awesome.
All right. Are you ready, Jay?
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
Cool. All right. Welcome everybody to XN Interviews. Um, I'm XN. Joining me, as always, tonight is JX, and
Hello.
we have a special guest, Kabam guest, joining us. Kabam Shovel Daddy. How are you tonight?
Doing good.
Nice. We're excited to have you, and hope you're ready to answer some questions. Jay, you want to kick us off?
Yeah. So, first off, what is it that you actually do? Like, a lot of people don't know who you are. So, what do you do at Kabam?
Yeah, so my main focuses right now are working on planning and building things like our monthly events, featured 5 and 6 star crystals, incursion crystals, special solo objectives, some larger initiatives like the Platinum Pool release and the Summoner Camp and Resort events.
Okay.
And then I also handle some sort of like regular monthly assigned tasks each month, similar or kind of like building in-app purchase offers and in-game store offers, promotional messaging, and some other internal tasks like verifying tool functionality and writing up guides for those to share with the team.
Very
Then
nice.
the team itself also handles other areas like building arenas, solo and alliance events, all of the crystals that we release in the game, take care of offer planning, account banning, and then compensation planning and distribution.
Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, lot of spinning plates.
so how did you come on to Kabam?
So I was working as QA on FIFA at EA for I think like 4 years on the live team there,
Okay.
and yeah, someone reached out to me on LinkedIn asking if I was interested in interviewing for a client QA position. And I interviewed for that and didn't get that role, but then I think like 6 months later, they had a position for Lab Ops QA, and so I applied for that because I was kind of more in line with what I had been doing, and I got hired on for that. Did live QA for about 2 years, and while I was doing that, I was just kind of familiarizing myself with like the way the game works and the tools that we used internally. Like I had an opportunity to take on a task where we did like a major overhaul on the the tools server, and just had to go through all of the different sort of tools that we went. So I was working with a lot of people on different teams from different disciplines and seeing like what all tools they work on from our internal stuff, and then learning kind of the basics of how all of those things worked. And then from there, it kind of jumped into working more with the lab ops tools and stuff like that, and kind of showed initiative that way, and just kind of learned how things worked, and then learned more of the planning phases and stuff like that from there on.
Okay. So you mentioned you're working with the new crystals and stuff. So when it comes to those, the monthly events, and how do you guys decide how much crystal shards or crystals can be earned for free to players versus people who buy the extra shards for the daily deals and stuff?
Yeah, so the crystals shards that we give in for free to play stuff, like that's kind of based around the tuning of the event itself. So basically, we go in there and we have an idea of like how much we can give for rewards in any given monthly event. So an event that's tuned more heavily on giving like more upgrade materials and stuff like that is probably going to be a little bit on the lower end for crystal shards, and then something that's tuned a little bit more conservatively on that stuff will be more likely to have more crystal shards. And then as far as the offers go, like we kind of just do standard offers for selling crystal shards in the meta, so it's pretty consistent there. And it's just kind of based on the dollar value of the offers that they're bundled in with.
Okay. And how do you guys decide who you're putting in the crystals?
So that mostly just depends on the theme of the crystal is where it really starts at. So we have a theme in mind, and then from there we try to add characters that make sense or come up with a way that they do make sense. If it's something that's like a really small roster, then sometimes we'll lean on like synergy champions and stuff like that, so that kind of fits in with the theme. And then from that, we have like our criteria for like what we want with the crystals. Like we go through like reviews with teams like our economy team and community and stuff like that. Basically just trying to make sure that we're going to get what we all want out of the crystal, like for the target.
Very nice. Jay, you got a couple over there?
Yeah, so you have quite the name. How did you get your Kabam name?
That's kind of just came up from a, I guess, unhealthy obsession with the Shovel Knight. There was a kind of like a fan collab that I saw a while back where people were kind of like reimagining Shovel Knight in different franchises and game series, and one of them was like Shovel Knight in like Daddy Dating Simulator, and it just kind of had like a funny little dialogue bit in there. It's like, I diggeth thee too, and stuff like that, and just kind of I thought that was funny, and I'd been using that as my profile picture for a while, and changed my name to that as well.
Okay. Yeah, a couple people were like, is it the enchanted shovel from Marvel Comics? And so nothing to do with that.
No, just big fan of Shovel Knight.
That's cool. Pretty iconic.
Yeah.
So when did you start working at Kabam? Like, how'd you get started? Obviously, you said that you said how you got into Kabam, but like, when was this?
Man, that's been a while. Let me pull up my LinkedIn. I think it's been like 5 years, maybe 6.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Very
5
nice.
years, 3 months.
Wow. Yeah, nice. You almost had you just had your 5-year anniversary. Congrats.
Thank you.
So since you've been working, like how has it been working through all the pandemic and stuff like that? Have you been into the office at all?
So I haven't really been to the office since the pandemic started. Like the transition was kind of smoother for me than most because I actually, like, me and my wife had a kid like a few months prior, or like a year prior, I guess. And so I was already kind of working from home on the afternoons on like Mondays and Fridays. So then when the pandemic started and we were working from home full time, I was just kind of already set up and ready to go. I was just doing the same thing every day of the week instead of just afternoons 2 days of the week.
Yeah, you got another one over there?
Yeah, I'll add on to that. So you're not actually on the West Coast, right? You're on the East Coast.
Yeah.
How different is that than not actually being on the West Coast?
I mean, it's different in that I'm working a lot later than I was before because I'm still maintaining the hours at the Vancouver studio, because
Okay.
that was just kind of basically the thing that I threw out there is like, hey, if you let me move to this other province, like, it's not actually going to impact the team at all, kind of thing. And it hasn't so far. Like, I'm still doing all the same work that I was doing, and we're mostly doing things like meetings online and everything anyway. So like that, there'll be more in-person meetings, stuff like that, obviously, when we transition back into the studio, but like we'll still be able to do like online calls and stuff like that, so I'll still be able to maintain the same presence that I have.
Nice.
Very nice. So if sorry. I know all bugs aren't easy to fix, but what have been some of the easy fixes and more difficult fixes, and could you elaborate on the process of fixing a bug?
I mean, like, usually an easy fix is just like a setting was wrong, right? Like something went live and a setting got missed somewhere, and it's just kind of like, as soon as we start getting reports of like maybe players are seeing something that they're not supposed to be seeing, or players aren't seeing something that they should be seeing, then we just kind of go in and like we know what kinds of settings will affect stuff like that. So it's usually pretty quick as far as that goes. But then depending on the severity of what players did or didn't have access to, then that's where things get a little bit more hairy when it's talking about compensation and that kind of thing. But for the most part, it's just seeing what people are complaining about, and then we usually know what to look at on our end.
So, with the more complicated bugs, is it harder to like figure out whether or not you need to add compensation to that or not?
Yeah, like that's obviously a complex conversation to have at any point, right? Like it's kind of you need to factor in a lot of different things, like if that's impacting players monetary or if it's impacting players time, like time is money too, right? And it also depends on the severity and the length of time. Like obviously everyone knows that we have ongoing regular compensation for the kind of issues that are happening in the game right now. So like it's very nuanced depending on what we can see, like direct monetary impact to players, customers, as well as like what the sentiment of the community is as well, right? Like especially if something seems like an easy sentiment win kind of thing, then sometimes those are easy decisions to make.
Jay, you got another one over there?
Yeah. So, you said you worked on the monthly content, new content, in-game messages. Obviously there are hidden Easter eggs sometimes. But are there any that we miss, or can you name some of your favorites?
I'm not sure. Not sure if there's any that are missed. I think there's usually at least one post on the forums and or the subreddit of like someone pointing out one of the references that we make. But yeah, it's usually like we try to be as clear as we can with most of our communication, but things like champion releases or events releases, we'll usually try to throw some additional flavor text in there. I felt kind of bad for one person when we released the Platinum Pool arenas last year because there were references to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and the names and the titles and all that stuff. And there was one player on the Reddit that was super excited about it, and then there's only one comment on the thread. It was someone just being like, "Who cares about anime?" kind of thing.
Man!
Like, I'm glad this person was excited.
I remember that. That was really cool. Yeah, you had like the whole like Yu-Gi-Oh first off because you collect the 5 pieces, right? And then you have a lot of the JoJo. I remember the banner because he's in the pose. With yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, it's always fun to do like a Platinum Pool themed event because there's more leeway in pop culture references with a character like that, right?
Yeah. So you mostly worked on Platinum Pool, right? I have a question because this is a little off topic. But he's got this connection to, we obviously know who came in this month. Can you speak about that at all? Because we didn't really get anything in game, or is that to be revealed?
Sorry, what was the connection between Platinum Pool and Null exactly?
There's like a connection to him and Null on the State of the Battle Realm map, and I've like said that maybe Platinum Pool has like a shiny symbiote because it's like the whole shiny Pokemon thing, but it's not. I haven't seen anything in game to really chew on. So I was curious if that just hasn't came yet.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure about that. That might be more plans on the character side.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, shiny symbiote. That's what I call it. But we'll find out. Okay, thanks.
My shiny symbiote.
That's great.
Okay, so how long have you been playing contests?
Since the day that I booked my interview.
Okay. So what is your progression level?
So I'm only at Cavalier right now.
Very nice.
I'm debating pushing to Thronebreaker after this month's event, after getting the 25% selector, hopefully.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely get
Very
it
nice.
for Black Friday or Cyber Weekend because those deals are great for Thronebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
If you do spend. Which do you spend?
I don't spend a ton.
Okay.
Like I try to keep my spend fairly low in the game because I don't know. I feel like it gives me somewhat of a better perspective when I'm kind of looking at like what to put in events and stuff like that. Because it's like trying to look at mostly perspective of a player that either isn't spending or is spending little because our goal for that kind of stuff is really more engagement, right? So kind of looking at what do these players possibly need, like what are the frustrations in progression that they're kind of running into, that kind of thing.
Cool.
Are you in an alliance?
I am in an alliance with other people from Kabam.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Very nice. So do you got what map do you guys run in AQ?
I actually don't run AQ very much. So like I'm in the alliance and mostly for things like summer advancement rewards and stuff like that, contributing to that kind of thing. But I do mostly
Okay.
play as like a single player player.
All right.
Fair
Very
enough.
nice. Do you grind arena at all?
No, I don't grind arena. I mostly just do monthly stuff and story content. And then
Okay.
I've done some things like I've done one path of labyrinth and stuff like that, and thinking about starting abyss, but
Ooh.
we'll see.
Okay. Very nice. Like where are you at in story content?
uh, see, I pushed a little bit farther. Like I kind of stopped after I got Cavalier, but then with the objectives for last month, I did push a bit farther.
Cat says, "Ew, abyss."
Um, yeah, very nice. So, if you could bring back any type of content from the vault, what would you bring back?
So I'd really like to take another shot at was it Mutant Treasure Island? That was
Yeah, that was
Okay.
great.
Yeah, like that was one of the events that we had a lot of fun building and planning out, but unfortunately we had some bugs when that released
Hmm.
that led to us having to basically take out all of the chest rewards that were on the map, and then we had to replace them with visible on path rewards, and so that kind of took away from the whole mystery and sense of exploration aspect of it. Like there's obviously lots of other things to enjoy about it, like players like the rewards themselves and the mystery objectives kind of thing, but we've since gotten some fixes in for that stuff, so I would like to try that again at some point, and I'd also like to work on kind of building more of a sense of progression into it because like it's it's good to have the like kind of that community engagement, right? Was the objective there, where it's like players are working together to try and discover like what rewards there were and where they are, but there wasn't really a sense of progression in the quest itself. I felt like because it's just kind of like once you know where a reward is, you just go and get it, and then you
Yeah.
have it. So players just kind of got the best thing right away, and then for the rest of the month, you're just kind of like picking up whatever else is useful, right? So I think there's
Okay.
definitely room for improvement there, especially with the fixes that we got in.
Yeah.
Nice. Shit.
So yeah, that was the really good event. One thing, who did you? Whose decision was it to make the cap on that? Like whenever you it went live, it went. You could only do it 3 times, or else you got a ban. Whose decision was that? Or not whose decision, but like who? I mean, why did you guys decide on the 3 times?
So I can't really speak to that decision. Like I wasn't involved in the decision itself, but like I think it comes down to like when something's an obvious exploit,
Yeah.
right? Like that's really just what it kind of came down to. If you see something like you know how it's supposed to work and you know it's clearly not working that way, like
Okay.
I don't think there's really a scenario where players like mistakenly do an exploit like three or more times in a row, right?
Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay. Jay, you got another one over there?
Yeah. So Okay. Well, so if there's one character you'd add to the game, who would it be?
If I could add one character, I'd say probably Anti-Man, specifically after he was converted to a Herald of Life by Galactus.
Oh, okay.
It was a part of like the Ultimate storyline, and it's like a kind of cosmic Marvel story. He's essentially driven mad because he becomes aware that eternity is like chained, and Galactus is trying to keep that information a secret, and that's why he turns Anti-Man into a herald and kind of sends him out to recruit the Ultimates in order to like help him discover who's imprisoned eternity, like why eternity is in shackles, kind of thing. It's just like a I don't know, really wild, powerful character, and his character design, like the redesign, just looks really cool. I thought so.
Nice. I did not expect that. I know who you're talking about too, and I was like, wow, really? Like that's really surprising. That's a really cool character. And hopefully, if we do get Galactus, because I mean he was summoned to the battle realm. If we do get him, I'd love to dive down to the Galactus rabbit hole in the contest.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It's awesome. Yeah. So do you play any of the MROC at all?
So I played it during the internal playtesting and stuff like that, but I haven't played it very much since it's gone live. Like it's just not really the kind of game that I play. Like I think I like burnt myself out on MOBA style games back in college playing Dota 2, so I don't really touch anything that has a MOBA feel anymore.
Okay. So do you work on MROC at all?
No.
Okay. All right. Jay, you got another one over there?
Yeah, so we do know the Eternals are coming next month. Obviously, Kabam might confirm that for us. So what can you say on that? What's in store for us? Can you speak on any of that for us?
I mean, I think there's probably going to be an arena, maybe a couple arenas for a couple characters, some crystals, and probably a monthly event.
Awesome.
Okay.
Fair enough. It
Very
was always
nice.
worth asking. Okay, so we just got the official announcement for the buffs for Karnak and Nebula. Are you excited for these two characters to get buffed?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Karnak getting buffed, because I remember there was like a while back where it was Seaton released a video on like kind of like the synergy team with Black Bolt and how really good he was, and Karnak was kind of like the only real sore spot in the synergy team, so I think that'll be pretty cool for some people to revisit.
Yeah.
He's really
yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, like the Inhumans have always been the black sheep of Marvel, so I'm glad, because I was like, dude, Karnak totally could get a buff and it could be really good, so I'm really excited. I know Imagine Jim did a fan build for him, and he gave him like foresight and a bunch of other cool abilities, so I'm really excited to see the official build. I'm sure it's going to be great.
Yeah, I hope people really like it.
Yeah, I'm excited for Nebula too.
Oh yeah.
She kind of hits like a noodle.
I mean, sometimes she can hit pretty dang hard. I'd love some like block proficiency, because if she had block proficiency and she builds up those charges, man, dude, she'd be killer. Like there's a lot. Like I think she can become meta with this buff, generally speaking.
Very nice. Jay, you got another one over there?
Yeah. So obviously those two are getting buffed. But if you could choose a character to get buffed, who would you want it to be?
I mean, kind of a basic choice, but probably classic Spider-Man, just because growing up in the 90s, right? Like Spider-Man's super popular comics and cartoon. Venom got buffed like a while back. I think it'd be nice to see Spider-Man get it.
Yeah, Miles just got his buff too.
Yeah, buff all the Spider-Man.
Yes, please. I'd love to see that happen. Sim Spidey's gotten some buffs too and synergies and whatnot, but like classic Spidey's really he came out the first day the game came out. Like he needs some love.
Yeah, for sure. So have you been keeping up with the MCU at all?
Yeah, like I've been following the recent series, like WandaVision and all those other shows that have been on Disney Plus. Loki was really good, really like that. I haven't seen the most recent movies, like I haven't seen Shang-Chi or Black Widow yet, but I'm mostly up to date at this point. There's some of the older sequels that I haven't seen, but
Well, get ready
yeah.
because we do have Eternals and Spider-Man so soon, like 2 months away. It's actually crazy. Like we're getting so much, and then Hawkeye next month too. Like, oh my goodness, I'm going crazy.
Yeah, really looking forward to the new Spider-Man, obviously.
Very nice. So, what did you like about Loki?
I just really liked that it was kind of out there as a premise. Like it felt to me like I didn't I like to go into most things blind. Like I really didn't have any idea what the show was going to be like at all. Like I kind of expected it to be going into like the Norse stuff, right? Because like not having any expectations, and then it's just like kind of a buddy cop mystery thriller going through like cosmic Marvel weirdness. Like it's just a really out there concept.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think Loki was probably my favorite too.
Yeah, me too.
Um,
Or me three.
I know there was like some people were disappointed with the ending because it wasn't like a big bombastic like showdown kind of thing. But I don't know. I really liked it. I like that it's kind of setting it up, right? Like it's setting up.
It was though.
the next
It was
phase.
I
a
was
showdown.
freaking out when they showed He Who Remains. I was literally like, "Holy shit, this is Kang!" Like, holy shit, I was freaking out.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah. So, Kat wants to know what fruit flavor are Mystic Catalysts?
Mystic Catalyst. Maybe grape.
Okay. Jay, you got anything else over there?
Yeah. So obviously, you said you spend a little bit. Do you have Red Deadpool in your roster?
I think I have him as a 3-star, maybe.
Is that from back in the day or with the recent?
That would have been from back in the day.
Ooh, very nice.
Okay. So, Jay, you got anything else? I'm running out of notes over here.
What's the biggest
Yeah.
What's the biggest headache that you've had that was actually really simple to resolve?
Yeah, I mean that kind of ties back to the question before, right? About like big issues and small issues. I don't think there's really too many issues on the live ops side that are like a big headache but also simple to solve. Like usually if it's a big headache for us, it's because it's tough to solve either from like a technical standpoint or like a community standpoint kind of thing. Like it's usually a headache because we have tough questions to answer on how we handle it.
So what did you think about Null and Anti-Venom?
I was really excited for Null when he was first announced because like so back when we first found out about it, like I was kind of doing like offer planning and stuff like that, and the King in Black comics were coming out, and so I was doing like Venom offers, planning around those kind of things because I just like thought it'd be a neat tie-in. So it's just like when I was doing offer planning, I'd usually see like, okay, what comics are coming out this month kind of thing, and then like theme some offers around that. And yeah, so that's when I first found out about King in Black series, and I don't know, symbiotes are always really cool, right? Like they're always fairly popular, I think.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, so then when I found out that he was going to be a thing like that was a month that I requested for doing like event planning, so I was excited to kind of do something like that.
Okay. So do you play with your Thor Ragnarok now?
I don't actually have a Thor Ragnarok yet.
Oh really?
Okay.
I haven't been lucky enough.
You'll get him.
Okay.
Do I gotta take him though?
I don't know. Does he need the dupe?
Maybe. I can't remember or not. I know it helps him, of course.
Yeah. So if you could symbiotize one existing champion, who would you pick?
Hmm. That's another tough one. Who would be interesting? The symbiote.
Excuse me.
I mean, we've already got Deadpool. I think Doom as a symbiote would probably be pretty crazy.
Yeah, that would be gnarly. All right. Um, so who have been some of the hardest fights or bosses that you've encountered?
I mean, I just recently did the infamous champion boss fight during last month's objectives. Even
Okay.
even after he's been nerfed, like I still had a lot of difficulty with that one.
Yeah, me too. I just did it like 3 days ago. So, who did you use?
I think I just ended up toughing it out with like Cap Infinity War.
Interesting.
Same. That last 10%, he just blocks it all, and then
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
unleash that special three, and it's over.
hmm
So, yeah. What do you think about the EQ bosses, Nolan Anti Venom? Have you dove into the Cavalier?
I haven't dove into the event quest yet. I've mostly just done the side quest stuff.
All right.
Like, yeah, it's kind of it's tough to find the time around the launch. Like I'll probably start digging into that more over the next week, but it was a lot of just keeping track of everything that was going live for the beginning of the event, and then just making sure that nothing's going wrong. And then now I'm kind of relaxing a bit more, so diving into some
Okay.
other content.
So, the side event, what path are you taking, and who are you using?
So I started with Agent Venom because I need a little bit more skill catalyst because I want to rank up my Elsa Bloodstone.
Nice.
I
Nice.
want to take her to rank 3. But yeah, so I started with that. I was kind of changing champions every time because I was struggling with that one for a while until like my very last run that I ended up needing because I got lucky with the skill catalyst pull. Yeah, for that one I was using, I think, Storm Pyramid X. So like when he like uh gets rid of stun effects, then he gets stunned for longer because of her abilities. But yeah, and I just got used to like baiting the heavies. Is that I don't know, it's really struggling with the stuns kind of thing. Because he just keeps getting rid of them, ignoring it basically. But yeah, once I started doing heavy baiting, then that got a lot easier. But then since then, I've moved on to doing is it Symbiote Supreme, getting some tier 5 basic catalyst fragments.
Right on. So who is a champion that you're still chasing?
Still chasing Doom. Like I have him as a 4-star, but I don't have him as a 5 or 6-star yet.
Okay. Very nice. Who's the champion that you just got that you can brag about?
I mean, I got 6-star Apocalypse really recently, like a couple weeks ago.
Okay. Very
I,
nice.
I haven't had much of a chance to use him yet, but I know he's good. I got him to rank 2 right away, but I don't have the mutant catalyst that I need.
Okay. Kabam Yolo sent a question. He said, "What's your favorite part to work on for monthly EQ for monthly events, and why is it daily riddle solo objectives?"
I know those.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of, I guess, infamous internally for the number of solo objectives that I end up planning for events. And any event that has like a lot of daily solo objectives is probably planned by me.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of a fun like community thing. I feel when it's like the objectives out there and it's really easy and quick to do, but maybe not straightforward in telling players who they need to fight. And I don't know. I always just enjoy logging in at like the 10 a.m. rollover every day and then seeing players it's like asking each other in global chat, like, who are we supposed to fight? And like, oh, I fought this character, but it doesn't seem to be them. Like maybe this one. And I don't know. It's really fun just seeing the community kind of come together really quickly in global chat and figuring out what they need to do.
I remember
Very
the
nice.
the M-Rock ones when we had Silver Centurion and Jabari Panther, and like a lot of them were like Easter eggs. Like one of them was Black Panther, and it was like the original Black Cat. Like I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I usually try to sneak references and stuff like that in there. Like I think there's a lot of Into the Spider-Man references in this month because my son has been like watching that movie nonstop for the last 3 months. So there's a lot of quotes very much drilled into my head.
Cool. Yeah, my son's been watching the Spidey and His Amazing Friends.
Nice.
He's 3, so get him in there while he's young.
Yeah.
So Jay, you got anything else over there?
Yeah, so obviously this month we have little Stevie returning, my little symbiote. How does it feel to play with him again?
I think it feels great. Like honestly, we had so much fun play testing that like with it's like me and the quest designer and Brock would get together like every day actually for a little while. Like we were just really iterating really constantly for a while there. And we would just like hop in and play the fights with my little symbiote, and if something didn't feel difficult enough, then we just like kind of keep ramping it up, but we never reduced the difficulty because any time that the quest designer would come up with something that was like really nasty, Brock was very adamant that like, no, like don't reduce the difficulty on that. I'm going to come up with a way for my little symbiote to counter that. Right. So it's very much about trying to, I guess like add more to that puzzle, right? Where it's like come up with another trick in my little symbiote sleeve kind of thing. So it's like give players more tools to play around with rather than reducing what they need to take on.
Very nice. Yeah, I like playing with him. This is the first time I've gotten to play with him, so it's pretty exciting.
And some players are already doing like paths farther along than are intended, like where it's like so I guess like intended isn't the right word. Like we knew that players, like high skilled players, are going to be able to get farther into the quest earlier, but yeah, they're really figuring out the rotation for which skills to pick and where and which are most helpful. It's like it's very much like solving a puzzle, right? Like you can get into certain points where you get walled off if you don't have the right abilities, especially like against Venom. I think you need to have I can't remember which evolution it is off the top of my head, but there's like a specific one that you need in order to deal with him.
Yeah, he's buffed up, right?
Buffs. Yeah, buffed up. That's what it was. Yeah, so you need to be able to deal with buffed up, otherwise you can get walled out. But we plan for that, right? So it's like you can quit anytime. Like you don't need to just like spend revives or waste energy. So it's like free energy. You can take it on as many times because it's very much meant for players to kind of like try something, see what works, see what doesn't work, and then go at it again with fresh eyes after figuring out like, well, maybe I'll take this skill this time because it'll help me with this fight, but then I need to take this one before I get this fight later.
Very nice. Yeah, it's very fun. I like it.
Glad to hear it.
So with the solo objectives, is planting the Easter eggs your favorite part, or is it just trying to get us to figure out who we have to fight next?
I'd say my favorite part is definitely just like watching people figure it out. Like I said, like I really like jumping into global when they roll over, just like see what people think it is. It's like some of them are tricky, like some of them are intentionally meant to sound like it's gonna be one champ, but it's actually referencing a different one. So I guess I probably enjoy writing those ones the most.
Okay.
You're a little trickster.
Yeah.
Jay, you got another one?
Yeah. So we've had a ton of characters buff this year. Who have been some of your favorite?
I mean, from a personal standpoint, my favorite's probably Mole Man.
Ooh.
Because he was like the first 6-star that I got. And
nice.
I don't know, I haven't used him much since he's got the buff, but it's kind of nice knowing it's there when I do want to use him. So yeah, I know there is a lot of content that he is helpful for, especially now. But
Okay.
the roster is just so large.
Did Dave teach you how to fight like a ninja?
No,
Not yet.
not yet.
Okay. So are you a boss killer in your battle group or when you do AQ or war?
No, no, not really. I honestly haven't done too much AQ or war recently. Like probably in like a year. Yeah,
Oh,
I've mostly
really?
just
Wow.
been focusing on
Okay.
single player, and contributing to like the solo events.
Right. Okay. So, do you work on Alliance Quest at all?
No, no, I haven't
Okay.
worked on that.
All right. So you said, do you work on like the actual event quests at all? Like the
So
node placement and stuff, or no?
I don't work on the node placement. Like kind of my role in that is so like when we get together to sort of plan events, sometimes the live ops person who's in charge of planning an event will come up with like they'll come in there with a quest in mind, or sometimes the quest designer has like something that they've been sitting on that they've been wanting to try for a while. Like as far as conceptualizing goes, like it's really collaborative. Like we'll and if no one has anything that they're sitting on, then we'll just kind of like workshop it out, right? Like brainstorm together. But then from that point, once we've kind of set the guidelines of like what we want out of the quest, then it's kind of in the quest designer's hand from that standpoint. And then after that, it's just going to playtest and then giving feedback on like what they're building and how we think it feels. Like if we think it's too difficult or too easy for what the content's meant to be, that kind of thing.
Very nice. Okay. So, who are some of the YouTubers or streamers that you watch to get ready for other content?
Um, I think one of the people that I see a lot is like Jason Voorhees. I think was the account. Like they post a lot of like how to use
Yeah.
champions because usually if I'm looking something up, I'm just like trying to figure like okay, like what is the rotation for this character? Like how do they work? Are they like a parry heavy champion, or am I supposed to be like getting up special one, then special two, and then rotating those around kind of thing? Like that's usually the kind of thing that I'm looking for. Otherwise, the things that I'm usually looking for is like what are players saying about what's in the game. So I'll watch like Rich the Man or Seaton, or I've been watching like some like Prof Hoff and stuff like that, just to like I know he usually has like more critical view than some, but it's still good to like it's good to get that insight, right? Like what is the most negative response that we're seeing from content creators and stuff like that? Like what are both sides? Because like there's always some people are like really happy with it, and then other people are disappointed. And I don't know. It's about constantly trying to find that middle ground, right? Like what is the thing that's going to be the most enjoyable for the most amount of people? So trying to get a really as much of a well-rounded view as possible.
Okay. So for the daily solo objectives, are those planned ahead or done day by day?
Uh, how do you mean?
Like whenever you come up with them, are they done like just all in one day, or do you do like one each day, like in the game?
Oh, so yeah, yeah. So like they'll come out like one per day kind of thing typically, but like as far as planning goes, it's like we'll plan them, or I typically will plan them in just like a large batch. So it's like I'll know that like an event is gonna be, like it's gonna be 4 weeks long, so we need 28 objectives, and then just kind of like I don't know, I'll try and make things thematic if possible, but like otherwise, just like trying to come up with good little mysteries in there. Like, how can I obfuscate what the champion is? Yeah, I just kind of like sit down and like have them out in a day or two, usually.
Okay. All right. So MSD is asking, do you ever watch solo content or for new bosses, or is it just mostly thoughts of the community, as you said?
Yeah, I mostly focus on trying to see what the thoughts of the community are. Like that's really what I'm interested in. Like I want to try and gauge what people think about the content that we're putting out, and pretty much just like looking for areas of improvement, right? Like I want to make the best content that I can make for the game. So that's usually what I'm focused on looking for.
Okay, very nice. Jay, you got a couple more over there?
Yeah. So, do you pay attention to the story of the contest?
Not as much as I should probably.
Ooh.
Yeah, like I know there is a really interesting story, and like the things that I have heard, like I am interested in, but when I am like actually engaged in playing the game, like I'm just trying to complete as much content as quickly as possible. Usually,
Yeah.
so I usually hit the skip button.
I've read
Like
every event, so.
yeah, it's like I'd like to read the story. Like I'm sure I'll go back and read it at some point, but as far as like actually playing the game goes, I'm usually just trying to grind through it.
Very
um,
nice.
did you work on 7.3 at all?
No, I didn't have any work on 7.3.
Okay. Do you work on any of the variants?
No, I haven't worked on any of the variants either. I like pretty much the only quest that I've really had any impact on is just the monthly side quests.
Okay.
Nice.
All
Other
right.
than that, it's just like play testing, right? Like just giving general feedback kind of thing.
Very nice. Jay, you got anything else over there?
Yeah, I definitely read this month's event quest. I really liked it with Noel. Since you read King of Black, you'll definitely like it. Xander says, do you have any plans on working on any story content or story variant based content?
I don't have any plans to, but I don't know. Never know what's in the cards.
Yeah. Man, I hope someone uploaded like footage of the story for 7.3, because if not, that means I actually have to do it to read it. Because like that's like the hardest part about reading everything in the game, is that once you get to the end game content, I'm like, I don't really want to do it, but no one else uploads it, so I have to force myself to do it. So
Oh no.
yeah, but I know the story's really good. Like Karina like getting crazy powerful and whatnot, and 7.7 like Act 7 is mostly her reign, so I definitely want to read it, but I actually have to do it
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, and the people writing the story, like they're really passionate about it too, and like I do think there are very interesting stories being told in the contest, so it's definitely good to highlight that when you can.
Very nice. That's awesome. Um, Jay, do you have anything else over there?
Yeah, MSC says by monthly side quest, do you mean the solo objectives? Correct. Which you do, and he says if so, has your intent with solo objective changed based on the negative feedback of the tedious of some of them?
Yeah, I mean, like, so that's kind of one of the big things that we build for the events, right? Because like we have the quest designers build the quests themselves. But yeah, as far as playable content, solo objectives is usually the kind of thing that we're building, or in-game stores. But yeah, like definitely been looking at the feedback. Like obviously I mean, you can see all over the forums what the reception was like for that kind of thing. Like we tried to do something different with the objectives, especially with it being solo objective months kind of back to back, like August and then into September. Like we didn't want to just be doing the same thing for 2 months, because like we do always try to change up what we're doing month to month, give players a new reason to play the game, keep them interested. But yeah, like it's one of those things where it's like something that sounded fine on paper didn't quite hit. uh I think kind of ran into issues where it's like kind of working against what we know or what we see from player behavior, right? Where it's like these objectives are weekly, so they're not really meant to be something that you do in a day. It's just supposed to be something like throughout the week you're kind of contributing to it, like being conscious of it. and then it's things that are realistic to complete within a week, that kind of thing. And but I think we see time and time again is when we put out content, players don't really think about it that way, right? Like we put out new story content or new like end game Everest content, that kind of thing, and players are completing it within like a day when it's something that's supposed to be like keeping players busy for a longer amount of time, right? Because it's just like that insatiable appetite for content. And so I think because it's like it was set up in a way where it's not really feeding into that type of behavior, that like players who are wanting to complete the content and move on to the next thing right away, like it's obviously it does look super tedious, right? Like it's something that's supposed to kind of be achievable in a week, but you want to do a week of something right now, then you're just going to be doing the same thing over and over again. So that's definitely something that we're keeping in mind for future events. Like we definitely won't be doing objectives the same way that we did for that month. But yeah.
Very nice. It's good to see like the progression of the solo objectives too. Like even when we didn't have them, like they weren't really all that good, or when like they were bad before. Now, Jay, you got anything else over there?
Okay, so you talked about kind of like how you choose characters to be in Crystals, and we've kind of seen this trend. I don't know if it's been confirmed or not, but we do like obviously have Nebula and Karnak, right? And they're in the Seek Star featured or were. Is that actually like you guys plan on like, hey, this will be buff, so we're gonna put it now. So when you guys will have this already for people who don't have it.
I'm not sure if I should say anything about that or not.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, that was my last question, so I'm all out.
Oh, okay. If chat doesn't have it, and my internet is acting up. Sorry.
Uh-oh. Well, if we don't drop from the call.
Trying. I can't. It's not even responding.
Oh. Kat says I mentioned this monthly, but thank you for moving away from daily required side objectives. Daily required side objectives, like if you miss it, you're borked, kind of.
Oh yeah, yeah, like that. That's the kind of thing that I definitely try to avoid. Like whenever I'm planning something, it's like I want it to be daily in the sense that you have something to look forward to every single day, but I don't want it to be daily in the sense that if you can't get in for a day for whatever reason, like life happens, like that you don't have to miss out on those things.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, it can pile up towards the end of the event, right? So it's like obviously there's always going to be a cutoff point, but I think that's like kind of why I started doing the daily objectives to the dismay of our QA team. But yeah, it was because I didn't really like calendars that much. Like I'm not a huge fan of calendars because you miss a day, you miss rewards, right? So it's more work to set up something like daily objectives. Like it's definitely a lot more effort for something like that. But just I don't know, when I'm planning something, I'm usually kind of planning with my interests in mind as well as like other players. Like I don't like when I have to do something. Like I'd rather have something to look forward to, and then if I don't get in, like I want to be able to do it later.
Yes. So what is your favorite character?
Like champion in the game kind of thing.
Yeah.
Probably Cap Infinity War, just because I use him to complete so much content. Like he's been like the savior of my team. Like I can experiment with the rest of my roster, but he's pretty much always my standby, my go-to, right? Like he's always good.
Oh yeah. So MSC says so you did work on the summer event, right? I think you mentioned that earlier. What is that like? Are you guys looking at for the future of this event?
Yeah, like obviously, like we don't really put anything into the game typically that's like only meant to be once and then never again, right? Like we do try to bring things back and iterate on that kind of stuff. So it's like we're always looking at like what players are talking about and kind of like what feedback they have, what the pain points are, and that kind of thing. We try to address all of that if we do bring something back. So it's like it's definitely something that we're looking at.
Were you the one responsible for claiming the glasses?
The glasses?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I miss so many sunglasses.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think I missed a couple, but I tried to get them all.
Yeah, that was kind of like a technical limitation. Like we there's different avenues that we can take to try and address that kind of thing. Like that's an obvious pain point, right? Like players are obviously talking about like they completed an objective and then for one reason or another they didn't get around to claiming it before the rollover happened. So like obviously that's not a fun experience for anyone. Like it's not hasn't been a fun experience for me when that's happened kind of thing either.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like that's what I mean, where it's like it's iterative, right? Like we're always looking at what people are saying, what the pain points are, and like if it does come around again, we're definitely gonna have improvements in the features to make it a smoother process for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So MSD says he's waiting on BAM support to give him his final token for the 6.4K 6-star shards before the store ends tomorrow.
Hope that
That's crazy.
Hope that works out because
Yeah,
it's getting close. It wasn't a bad event. I liked it. Obviously, I'm glad that you're like, hey, this is obviously it's a pain. So looking to fix that when the next time it happens a year from now or whatever it if it changes or anything like that. So, but pretty cool. Xander says, so we talked about your favorite character in comics. What is it in like the comic books? Like, what would your favorite character in the comic books be?
Probably Venom. Like, I don't know, just
Can't go wrong with Venom.
yeah, yeah. Like I don't know, I just when I was a kid, like I always really enjoyed like Venom in the comics. Like I just always thought that he looked so cool, right? Like I think it was Todd McFarlane was the artist back then. Like
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like he just really sick character designs, right? And I don't know, playing the 90s Spider-Man game and stuff like that. You got like the missions where you're chasing Venom around and stuff.
Nice. Have you seen Venom Let There Be Carnage?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Come on.
I saw the first Venom movie, but I haven't seen the sequel yet.
Okay. Yeah, I really liked it. It did a great job as a sequel movie, and they kind of fixed what I didn't like in the first film. So, I think it was really good. And you will.
Yeah, I watched the first one. Sorry.
And the post-credit scene is pretty crazy. So, if anyone who hasn't seen it, you want to watch it. Yeah, no spoilies. I'm gonna use that all the time.
All right. Jay, are you out of questions over there?
Yeah, man, I am all out.
All right, I think I am too, man. I want to thank Shovel Daddy for coming out and talking to us about Kabam stuff. His job. That's awesome. You were a great guest, and everybody who came out live, we want to thank you and have a great evening.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.